Ever realize you're just too smart for your own emotional good? Like you start feeling something real, joy, sadness, peace, and your brain goes, wait, let's analyze this emotion until it disappears. Congratulations. You might be an INFJ. Today, we're diving into 6 hilariously self-sabotaging ways INFJs outsmart themselves emotionally. Because when it comes to the inner world, you're not just playing chess, you're playing against yourself. And losing beautifully. Let's start with the first move on this emotional chessboard. Let's dive right in, shall we? All right, first things first. The I know what you feel trap. You walk into a room, and before anyone says a word, you've already diagnosed the emotional climate like some psychic therapist. Someone looks tired, you sense heartbreak. Someone's quiet, you detect rejection trauma. You don't even need them to speak. Your intuition's already 5 emotional layers deep. You pride yourself on reading people so accurately that even Google would say, I've got nothing on this one. But here's the twist. Sometimes you're wrong. In fact, you're beautifully, hilariously wrong. That's because your INFJ intuition isn't just empathy, it's emotional pattern recognition. You're connecting micro expressions, tone shifts, and subtle energies faster than most people can blink. The problem? You're also adding your own emotional bias into the equation. When you sense sadness, you don't just notice it, you feel it, you absorb it, you start fixing it. Before you've even confirmed if it's real. And suddenly, you're in full emotional firefighter mode trying to rescue someone who's not even in a burning building. Psychologically, this is called empathic projection. It's when you mistake your interpretation of someone's emotion for the emotion itself. You assume you know what's happening inside their mind because, well, it matches something you felt before. Your empathy, it becomes a mirror, and you start reacting to your own reflection instead of the person in front of you. You think you're being helpful, but in reality, you're just editing someone else's emotional story with your own plotline. And let's be honest, it's not out of arrogance. No, it's out of care. You want to understand people deeply. You need that emotional clarity to feel safe. But here's the paradox, folks. The more certain you feel about your emotional insight, the less likely you are to actually ask what's true. You end up scripting other people's feelings while they're still figuring out their own. It's like emotionally finishing someone's sentence, but in the wrong language. This is how INFJs accidentally outsmart themselves. You're so used to being right about people that you forget. Intuition isn't infallible. It's a probability, not a prophecy. When you misread someone, you don't just feel embarrassed. Oh no, you feel emotionally betrayed by your own gift. You start doubting your intuition entirely, like your emotional GPS suddenly stopped working. The irony? Most of the time, your intuition is right. Just not in the way you think, you know? You might sense that something's off, but you attach the wrong story to it. You read emotional weather patterns perfectly, but you misjudge the storm's cause. You feel the thunder before you even see the clouds. So, next time you feel that INFJ urge to interpret someone's silence as sadness or distance as rejection, hey, just pause for a second. Ask before assuming. Because your empathy ain't meant to be a guessing game, it's meant to be a connection. You don't need to read everyone's emotions like a psychic hotline. Sometimes the most emotionally intelligent thing you can do is simply say, hey, are you okay? That one question, that pause, is what turns intuition into understanding. Because when you stop trying to be the mind reader, you finally become the listener. And that's where your real emotional superpower lives. And next up, we've got overthinking genuine happiness. You know that rare moment when everything actually feels okay? The sky looks brighter, the coffee tastes better, and for once your brain isn't hosting 1,000 overlapping thoughts about the meaning of existence. But then it happens. That quiet, innocent whisper in your head, wait, why do I feel happy? And just like that, the peace evaporates. You can't just enjoy happiness. You have to audit it. You start analyzing joy like a detective, investigating a suspicious crime scene. Was it that text message? The weather? My serotonin levels? You turn a perfectly good moment into an emotional spreadsheet. You examine your own feelings as if they need to prove their right to exist. INFJs are masters at emotional meta-analysis. You don't just feel things. You think about the things you feel and then think about why you're thinking about them. It's an endless emotional inception. Psychologists call this meta-emotion, and it's a fascinating mix of self-awareness and emotional interference. Basically, your brain can't experience an emotion without scheduling a meeting to discuss it afterward. This habit, it comes from your need to understand. Understanding, it gives you control. And control, well, that makes you feel safe. But here's the psychological twist, and it's a doozy. Emotions, they're meant to be temporary and chaotic. They don't need to be understood. They need to be experienced. By dissecting happiness, you drain it of spontaneity. You turn joy into a lab experiment, poking at it until it just, poof, dissolves under your microscope. You might even guilt trip yourself for feeling good. Should I really be this happy when there's still so much wrong in the world? Am I being naive? Am I ignoring something? It's as if you believe happiness must be earned through suffering. You've turned peace into a reward system that only unlocks after emotional labor. But here's the irony, get this. Your ability to reflect so deeply is also what allows you to recognize happiness in the first place. You feel its texture, its rarity, its fragile beauty. You're aware of it in a way most people never are. The trick is learning when to stop analyzing and just, start existing. Because let's be honest, happiness doesn't survive interrogation. The second you demand to know why it's here, it quietly packs its bags and poof, it's gone. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is just let joy pass through you without needing to define it, So, next time you catch yourself overthinking a good day, try this. Don't ask why. Don't analyze it. Just let it be. Feel it. Breathe it in. Because maybe, just maybe, for once, there isn't some hidden meaning behind your smile. Maybe it's just happiness, the pure, uncomplicated kind. And for an INFJ, that's not ignorance, buddy, that's emotional enlightenment. And thirdly, emotional chess masters with themselves. You ever catch yourself rehearsing a conversation that hasn't even happened yet? You're in the shower or halfway through brushing your teeth, and suddenly you're running a full emotional simulation, predicting exactly what someone will say, how you'll respond, and how they'll misinterpret your response. Welcome to the INFJ Olympics, where every event involves strategizing against imaginary scenarios you created yourself. You don't just prepare for conversations, you choreograph them. You rehearse the tone, the pauses, the emotional cues, and even your facial expressions. It's like your mind has turned into a movie studio, where you're the writer, director, and lead actor, all playing opposite an invisible co-star who probably isn't even thinking about you. It's emotionally exhausting, but also kind of impressive. You're not arguing with people, you're arguing with their potential responses. Psychologically, this habit stems from your dominant function, introverted intuition, paired with your deep empathy. Your brain wants to predict emotional outcomes before they happen so you can manage them, soften them, or avoid them entirely. It's a survival mechanism disguised as emotional foresight. You're trying to prevent conflict by living it out in advance. But here's the catch. You can't solve a problem that doesn't exist yet. You can only drain your emotional battery, imagining how it might. You tell yourself, I'm just preparing. But really, you're playing both sides of the chessboard. You know every move before it happens, and yet you still lose. Because the opponent isn't real. The person in your head doesn't get tired, doesn't forgive, and doesn't surprise you. They just keep looping the same argument over and over again until you've outwitted yourself into emotional paralysis. What's funny is that in real life, the conversation you rehearsed never goes the way you planned. The person says something completely unexpected, and your brain freezes because the script didn't cover that line. You spent hours mastering every possible outcome, except reality. It's the INFJ curse, trying to emotionally outmaneuver chaos by rehearsing control. This emotional chess game also keeps you from being present. You're so busy anticipating reactions that you forget to participate in the moment. You don't allow spontaneity because spontaneity can't be predicted, and unpredictability feels unsafe. But here's the truth. Not every conversation needs a strategy. Not every emotion needs a counter move. The people who love you, they don't want the rehearsed version of you. No, they want the real one. The one who, pauses, laughs awkwardly, maybe says the wrong thing, but, really means it. Authenticity doesn't play chess. It just shows up. So, next time you feel that mental engine spinning up to analyze every possible future response, just take a breath, all right? Let the conversation happen in real time. You might stumble. You might say something imperfect, but you'll also experience something real, unfiltered, unplanned, unstrategized. And for an INFJ, that, my friend, is the bravest move of all. Because sometimes the only way to win the emotional chess game is to stop playing it. All right, so fourth on the list, we got the everything has meaning overload. Now, for most people, a cloud, it's just a cloud, right? Maybe it's gonna rain, maybe not. But for you, oh no, for you, it's a symbol, it's a message, it's like a poetic metaphor from the universe. Gently whispering, reflect, dear INFJ. You don't just observe life, you interpret it. A song lyric, a passing glance, a stranger's choice of words, it all carries, what? Emotional data. You live in this constant state of decoding reality, like a human Google Translate for feelings and fate. It's exhausting, just thinking about it. Your mind, it doesn't rest on the surface, no, it dives. When someone says, I'm fine, you don't hear the words. You analyze the tone, the micro hesitation, that 0.3 second drop in pitch, and suddenly you're rewriting their entire emotional biography. You find meaning in coincidences, signs and patterns, messages in randomness. It's what makes you so deeply intuitive and, let's be real, so emotionally exhausted. Psychologically, this is your introverted intuition just running wild. It's designed to detect underlying patterns, to connect dots others can't even see. But when it's paired with your extroverted feeling, that intuition starts empathizing with patterns too. You don't just see meaning, you feel it. Everything becomes personal, interconnected, spiritually significant. It's like living inside a beautifully complex novel that honestly never stops foreshadowing something, and you're stuck reading every single line. But here's where it gets tricky. Not every cloud has a message, and not every silence hides resentment. Sometimes the universe isn't speaking, it's just existing. When you attach meaning to everything, you accidentally turn life into an endless emotional puzzle. You can't relax because you're too busy searching for hidden subtext. And the irony is, by looking so deeply into everything, you start missing what's right in front of you. Simplicity. This tendency also makes relationships feel like decoding encrypted messages. You read someone's tone like it's Morse code for emotional truth. A late reply becomes symbolic of disinterest. A compliment hides ulterior motives. You build entire emotional storylines out of moments that were probably just normal. It's not that you're wrong to look for meaning, it's that meaning sometimes thrives in the ordinary. True intuition isn't about inventing significance. It's about noticing it when it's genuinely there. You don't have to spiritualize every coincidence to make life profound. Sometimes beauty is found in the randomness itself, in things that mean nothing and yet feel like everything. So the next time you catch yourself decoding every text, cloud, or cosmic nudge, just pause, Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this insight or just my imagination running wild? Because your gift of depth doesn't need constant interpretation, it just needs a little stillness to see clearly. The truth is, not every sign is a sign. Some things are just, things. And the most meaningful moments, they often show up when you stop searching for meaning and just allow yourself to be. Because when everything stops needing to mean something, that's when life finally starts feeling like something. Fifthly, the helper hangover. You can sense emotional pain in people before they even say a word. It's like having emotional radar built into your nervous system, Someone's mood dips, and you pick it up instantly. That subtle shift in tone, that look in their eyes, the tiny sigh that no one else hears. And before you can stop yourself, you're already in full rescue mode. You drop everything to comfort, to listen, to fix. You think, they need me. And maybe they do. But what happens when the crisis ends? They feel lighter. You feel wrecked. Welcome to the helper hangover. The emotional burnout that happens when your empathy runs faster than your boundaries. As an INFJ, your compassion is wired into your DNA. You feel what others feel, often so vividly that their pain feels like your own. It's not empathy in the soft sense, it's absorption. You don't just walk in someone else's shoes, you start wearing them home. Psychologically, this comes from your dominant function, introverted intuition, paired with your extroverted feeling. Your intuition picks up the subtle emotional undercurrents, and your fee compels you to restore harmony immediately. It's noble, it's beautiful, and it's completely draining. You're the emotional first responder who forgets to check their own oxygen mask before diving into the fire. So you think understanding someone deeply is like the same as healing them? But here's the real deal. Understanding ain't medicine, pal. It's just insight. You can guide them, support them, empathize with them, sure. But you can't carry someone else's emotions without losing grip on your own. Capiche? You think your compassion's infinite, huh? Newsflash. It's not. It's a finite resource, and it deserves protection, just like anyone else's. And that's where the INFJ paradox really kicks you. You feel responsible for emotions that don't even belong to you. You're thinking, if I can sense their pain, it must be my job to fix it. But that's not empathy, see? That's emotional overreach. You're not meant to absorb everyone's energy. You're meant to witness it. You can't be a lighthouse if you keep diving into every single storm that passes by. And then when you finally crash, you feel guilty for needing a break. You think, I should be stronger. I should care more. But that guilt, it's just the hangover talking. The emotional aftershock of giving too much without refilling your own tank. Even healers need healing. Even empaths, they need a little silence, So, the next time someone's pain tugs at your heart, pause before you rush in. Ask yourself, is this my emotion or theirs? If it's theirs, honor it, don't absorb it. Offer your light without dimming your own. Because real compassion isn't about carrying someone's weight. It's about walking beside them while keeping your own feet steady. You don't have to save everyone to be kind. You don't have to fix people to be valuable. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for them and for yourself is to let empathy have edges. Because protecting your energy, that doesn't make you less caring, it just makes your care sustainable. All right, last but not least, we got the Enlightened Self-Sabotage. There's this moment every INFJ knows, that cinematic flash of realization when you suddenly understand why you do the things you do. The emotional patterns, the overthinking, the endless empathy loops. You connect all the dots, feel an almost spiritual rush of clarity, and whisper to yourself, I see it now. It's profound. It's healing. It's the start of another spiral. Because the second you gain self-awareness, you start analyzing the self-awareness itself. Welcome to the most sophisticated form of INFJ chaos, the Enlightened Self-Sabotage. You've achieved emotional enlightenment, but instead of peace, your mind treats it like new material for a documentary. Interesting, it says. Let's unpack why I realized this today and not last week. What does that say about my inner growth timeline? You don't heal and move on. You open another layer of introspection, like peeling an onion, made entirely of therapy sessions. It's the ultimate paradox. You become so conscious of your emotional evolution that you start managing it like a project. You analyze your progress, track your triggers, and then judge yourself for judging yourself. You're trapped inside a hall of mirrors where every reflection is self-analysis disguised as enlightenment. Psychologists, they call this meta-awareness fatigue. It's what happens when you're self-understanding. It just becomes self-obsession. For INFJs, this comes naturally. Your intuition, it just don't know how to stop digging. It's like your mind refuses to leave any mystery unsolved, even when the mystery is, well, you. The problem is, you start mistaking observation for transformation. You believe that because you can describe your pattern, you've healed it. But awareness ain't the finish line. It's the doorway. And if you keep staring at the doorway, you'll never actually walk through. Here's the irony. Your self-sabotage, it ain't malicious. It's intellectual. You want to evolve so badly that you overthink the process of evolving. You confuse reflection with resistance. You turn self-growth into a puzzle that never ends, because if you solved it, what would you do next? But here's the deeper truth. Maybe you don't need to solve yourself. Maybe the point of all this awareness ain't to become perfect, but to become present. You don't need to master every emotional glitch to be at peace. You just need to stop debugging your soul like faulty software. So, the next time you catch yourself analyzing your own healing, take a breath. Let it be unfinished. Let it be messy. You don't have to understand the lesson in real time. You just have to live it. Because true enlightenment isn't about knowing why you feel everything. It's about learning to feel without fear. That's the secret ending to the INFJ paradox. You overthink, you overfeel, and yes, you even overheal. But it's all part of your brilliance. You're not broken for analyzing your emotions too deeply. You're just built to see meaning where others see noise. The key is to remember, your mind is a telescope, not a microscope. Use it to see farther, not smaller. Because sometimes, the most enlightened thing you can do is stop trying to outsmart your emotions and finally let yourself feel them. That's it for this video. Share your thoughts in the comment section. It's really valuable for us. And hey, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.